Are you still struggling in Epic? Is this patch too difficult for you to understand? Worry not, baby boy. Papa Kazuki has the best heroes for you. Hi guys, Kazuki here, and in this video I will give you the 5 best heroes from each role so you can push your rank easily. Let's start with fighters. First, let's talk about the biggest patch not hero, Olus. Olus is not just the old ex-fighter anymore. After the revamp, Moonchun finally fixed his biggest weakness. He was too dependent on basic attacks and had weak chase. Now his kit gives him better movement, stronger slow, dash follow-up, and a much better team fight ultimate. His skill 1 can give control immunity if timed properly, which means he can force himself into fights much better than before. But don't call him fully broken yet. Olus is the patch headline, but he still needs proper timing and items before he becomes scary. Hard CC before his immunity activates, burst damage, and kiting can still shut him down. Now we have Dairot. Dairot is not here because he is fancy. He is here because after the buff, his early pressure and defense trade are even easier to abuse. His skill 1 becomes more important and his range management feels less awkward in mid to late game. If the enemy has tanky EXP, tank jungle or slow frontline heroes, Dairot can punish them hard. But if he fails to snowball early, he becomes much easier to kite later. Next is Terizla. Terizla didn't need a fleshy revamp. Removing his mana already made him smoother, safer, and way more annoying. Earlier, sometimes he had full HP but couldn't fight because he had no mana. Now that problem is gone. He can keep spamming skills, win long trades, and dominate turtle, lord, and tight jungle fights with his ultimate. Just remember, mobile heroes can still kite him, so don't waste your ultimate when enemies still have dash or flicker. Next is Minsitar. In a meta full of dash heroes, Minsitar is the punishment. Once his ultimate lanes, heroes like Ling, Lancelot, Harith, Benedetta, and Sora suddenly becomes normal heroes. He can work in EXP or roam, and his real power is not just damage. It's controlling where enemies are allowed to move. And finally, Hilda. Hilda is the simple solo queue monster. No complicated combo, no perfect setup. She enters the bush, controls the map, invades jungle, bullies weak laners, and makes squishy heroes panic. She can play EXP or roam, but her sustain makes her perfect for messy ranked games. Now don't drag the game too long, because if your team has no real damage, Hilda can fall off hard. Now let's move to roamers, the main heroes of the game. First, let's start with Florine. Florine was not directly buffed this patch, but the meta around her became perfect. When every fight turns messy, one global heal can completely change the result. She is one of the safest support roamers for solo queue because she can save teammates even when fights are spread across turtle, lord, or side laners. But don't play too forward. Florine's value comes from surviving long enough to use her ultimate at the perfect moment. Use it after enemies commit damage, not before. Burst assassins and anti-heal can still reduce her impact. Next is Minotaur. Minotaur did not need a direct buff to become useful. With Dominance Eyes reaching further now, tanks who stand in the middle of fights get more value just by existing in the front line. He brings engage, healing, crowd control, and simple ranked value without needing crazy mechanics. Hold your ultimate for Lord Pit, turtle fights, or enemy backlines clumps. Just don't waste your engage on only the enemy tank unless your team can instantly follow up. Next we have Marcel. Marcel got a small passive now, but the important part is his ultimate. After the patch, protected allies are no longer punished by golden hour, making him much safer to use in real ranked fights. He is the fight saver roamer, perfect when your carry is about to get focused or when enemies commit burst. But remember, Marcel is banned a lot, so don't build your entire draft around getting him. Next is Glue. Glue did not need a damage buff. The patch pushed him more clearly towards roam, and with his current ban pressure that tells you how annoying he is to deal with, he is not just a tank, he is a walking disruption too. Once he enters the fight, enemy positioning becomes messy instantly. Abuse his early tankiness, zone enemies from objectives, and target carries who cannot escape easily. And finally, Lolita. Lolita was not buffed directly, but the Marksman patch indirectly helps her. If the enemy draft depends on projectile damage, her shield can erase their biggest win condition. Save her shield for the enemy's most important ranged damage and use ultimate from bushes or choke points. Against heavy projectile teams, Lolita is not just a tank, she is the anti-Marksman answer. Now let's move to the mid lane, the role where fight control, poke, burst, and objective pressure can completely decide the game. First, we have Zetian. Zetian was not directly buffed this patch, but she does not need a buff to be scary. In a chaotic patch, control is everything, and Zetian gives your team exactly that. She is not just a damage mage, she controls how enemies move, when they can dive, and where they are allowed to fight. Use her around Lord, Turtle, and group team fights. Don't waste control skills only for poke. Save them for enemy dives and big objective movement. But remember, if Assassin can reach her freely, she needs protection. Next is Eve. Eve also did not receive a direct patch buff, but objective fights are where she shines. If enemies group near Lord, her ultimate turns that area into danger zone. She slows zones or forces enemies to either retreat or walk through damage. Use her ultimate from safe terrain, behind your front line, and after your tank starts the fight. But don't open it too early if assassins still have full access to you. Now we have Zushin. Zushin was not directly buffed this patch, but her value comes from how well she fits the current meta. She fights drag out, Zushin keeps controlling space until the enemy team breaks. She is not a one-shot mage, she is annoying because she keeps affecting the fight again and again. Play at distance, break fights longer, and let your frontline keep enemies in her zone. Next is Farsa. Farsa was not buffed directly, but she is not the safest state fit. But her range still wins objective fights. If enemies group near the Lord or Turtle, she can punish them before they can even reach your team. Rotate fast with wings by wings, cast ultimate from fog or behind walls, and never stand in obvious positions. And finally, Kadita. Kadita was not directly changed this patch, but she still has huge value because of her pick-off potential. She is here because in the backline focused meta, one clean Kadita combo can remove the enemy marksman before the fight even starts. Don't play her like a poke mage, hide in fog, flank from Reaver, wait for escape skill, and then delete the backline. Now let's talk about the gold lane, because patch 2.1.67 changed many marksmen directly. First, let's start with Melissa. Melissa got one of the cleanest gold lane updates. Her damage took some trade-offs, but smoother skill 1 and skill 2 chaining, plus the new ultimate shield, makes her much safer against dive heroes. Her skill 1 cooldown is now much lower, skill 2 can be cast during skill 1, and her ultimate now gives a strong shield based on extra physical attack. So yes, her skill 2 damage is lower and mana cost is higher, but overall Melissa feels smoother, safer, and easier to trust in rank. Next is Nathan. Nathan was nerfed, so don't play him carelessly. His HP, defense, and durability went down, and his ultimate mana cost is now heavier, but his damage profile is still valuable, especially when your team needs a gold laner who can straight tanky drafts with magic DPS. Play safe early, avoid bad trades, and focus on item timing. If protected properly, Nathan still mails frontliners in longer fights. Now we have Irithel. Irithel lost durability but gained better damage direction. Her HP and defense were reduced, but her physical attack growth increased, and her skill 1 cooldown is better in later levels. That means she is more punishable early, but more dangerous when she reaches her damage timing. If your positioning is clean, this patch actually makes her late game hunting style even stronger. Brody was adjusted, not simply buffed. His early and late game are better, but his mid game needs cleaner timing. His skill 1 now gives stronger early pressure, and his ultimate rewards better finishing when enemies are already low. Use him for smart burst trades, not random all-in. Stake marks properly, then finish with ultimate. And finally, Hanabi. Hanabi technically got nerfed with higher mana cost, but her rank performance is still strong. If you manage mana properly, she remains one of the safest marksmen for normal players. Farm safely, don't spam skills for no reason, and play front to back team fights where her bounce damage can spread. Patch nerfed her mana comfort, not her entire value. Now let's move to the jungle. First, let's start with Harith. Harith is here because the patch directly opened the jungle door for him. Extra creep damage, better scaling, and faster cooldown item access makes him one of the biggest new jungle stories after this update. His skill 1 now deals extra damage to creep, his skill 2 enhanced basic attack scaling is stronger, and Stalim's side build path is now smoother for cooldown access. But don't call him instantly broken. His current rank performance is still not as safe as some other junglers. Heavy CC, anti-shield, and burst can punish him hard. Use him as a new patch option with strong potential, not a guaranteed free win. Next is Fredrin. Fredrin was not directly buffed this patch, but he is still one of the safest jungle choices when your team needs a front line. Crowd control and better objective control. In messy turtle and load fights, Fredrin gives stability. He can hold space, start fights, and survive long enough to secure retribution. Just remember, if your team has no damage behind you, Fredrin can feel useless. He needs follow-up. Now we have Harley. Harley was not changed directly, but his ranked pressure is impossible to ignore. In a gold lane focused patch, a jungler who can instantly delete Marksman is always dangerous. At level 4, rotate fast and punish any mage or marksman farming alone. But if enemies buy Athena's shield, group tightly or protect their backline well, Harley's burst becomes much harder to lane. Next is Leo mode. Leo mode was not directly buffed this patch, but he fits the current meta because fights are getting messier. Once enemies are low, Barbiel turns him into a cleanup machine. Don't force big fights without ultimate, wait for enemies to use skills, enter with Barbiel and runs through the broken fight. And finally Julian. Julian was not directly changed this patch, but his flexibility keeps him relevant. If your team needs magic damage from the jungle, he can bring burst, control or mobility depending on the combo you choose. He is not the safest pick, but in the right hands, Julian adapts to every fight. So guys, what do you think of these heroes? Are you still fighting with Dark System in epical hell, or gonna use these heroes to escape them? If you have any better options, then do tell me your thoughts in the comment section. So that will be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Keep supporting Kazuki Official.